Hello, grade 7. Today we are to learn EMS SWOT analysis. So, what are our learning outcomes today? Well, first of all, we need to be able to identify the characteristics of a SWOT analysis within case studies of a business or businesses. And we need to be able to discuss the characteristics of a SWOT analysis within case studies or of a business. And lastly, we need to know how to demonstrate characteristics of a SWOT analysis within or of a business of businesses. Let's get to it. But before we even get to the actual lesson, I need to ask you a few questions as a business person that you are. Firstly, do you know what actually makes a business sustainable? And what is a business? As we all know, if we look at a business, its true definition is really an institution or an establishment that serves a transition between a customer and the buyer or seller, the seller, where they exchange items or money. For an example, if I am selling water to during a marathon, I'm actually providing a need for water packets during a marathon, and the marathon is gonna pay me money to actually give the runners water. What is it that makes a business sustainable? Well, as we all know, if you want to make a business like last long, it should actually make um a need of a community met. So if the need of a community or environmental market, so wherever you're selling that product or service, if there's no need for it, it's not going to be as sustainable. And do you know the difference between market research and needs analysis? Well, let's start with market research. Market research is when you actually learn the behaviors of your customers, the behaviors of the general masses of people, the trends and the generational um, systems. For an example, how people currently are so into vegan and health conscious meals and businesses and franchises that uh, takeaway franchises are slowly losing their relevance the into the market, into the people, into the consumer. For an example, Coca-Cola went from Coca-Cola Lemon, Coca-Cola Sugar Free, Coca-Cola Light, Coca-Cola flavored, because they learned the different behaviors of people, that they're trying to be a little more less sugary, a little more health conscious without actually leaving the product. So market research, behaviors of the consumer as a mass. Needs analysis is when you look at your service, you look at your product, how is it servicing the needs of your consumers or just the masses as a whole. So, do you know what's the difference between service or product? Well, an example of service is when your mom or dad takes your car to a car wash. So it's basically paying somebody to do something for you. That's what we call a service. A product, it's when I produce something that could meet your need. For an example, uh, franchises takeouts. If unfortunately at home you happen to have no groceries, but you need a quick meal for everybody in the family, you are gonna buy your pizza, and the pizza is what we call a product. So, do you know the difference between formal and informal businesses? Well, formal businesses and informal, the main and the main difference between them is that formal businesses are high-end businesses such as your Hawaii, your Samsung, your Hyundai, your Mercedes. These are businesses that are registered with the government, that are registered to a country, that pay tax. But informal businesses are businesses maybe like as your local lemonade stand person or your street vendor, people who could just come up today and just sell a piece of chocolate to a crowd of people without registering a business. So it's informal. So do you think they have the same expenses? If not, how? Well, one of the reasons is that informal is not always consistent. They may not have a shop all the time. Some of them do, like spaza shops or tech shops or your local say in your community somebody decides to have a container and sell bread, little stuff really. And formal might be a registered company that has to pay rent for building and or even buy that building. So do you think these two businesses have the same expenses in terms of how big they are and being registered? Think about it. Lastly, is there a formal way to measure your business's strength, weaknesses, opportunity, and not strength, threats? And that's what we call SWOT analysis. Okay, what is SWOT analysis? SWOT analysis, first of all, let's talk about strength. Strength of a business is anything that's positive, anything that is a positive attribute to your business that might have. For example, if there are two competing businesses on or two opposite ends selling the same business, same product such as pizza, maybe the grumpy old man next door you wouldn't like to buy from him, but the lady across who's friendly and nice and gives you extra serviettes and extra eating utilities and even sometimes a bit of a discount, you would like her better and you would go to her store. So that's a strength of business. A weakness, on the other hand, and then the SWOT analysis means anything negative that might not be very productive into your business. It doesn't put in anything good. It may weakness can be changed in a business. For an example, if you want to have a particular big business, but you don't have the money for it to start it, that's what we like to call capital. You don't have enough capital. You're gonna do a small lemonade stand to make profits so that you use that little profits to eventually have a lemonade store into a bigger business. So your weakness was first of all not having enough capital, and then you scaled down to a lemonade stand and you use that profits to eventually have a container, a tuck shop, or even a formal building, slowly but surely, from a small business to a bigger business. So that's a weakness. It can be changed. Opportunity. In a SWOT analysis, there are chances or parts where you can improve your business improvements. So you can make or develop or increase your success of your business. For an example, the McDonald's in China does not sell burgers, but mostly Chinese cuisine. That is a way of how a business adapts to its customer, adapts to their needs and the market after doing so much more market research and discovering, China is not really much of a fan of burgers. So let's do something much more familiar and like. And with the twist, you make a good product, a new one that they might like. Okay, threats. A threat might be something harmful and possibly damage your business sustainability or even image, in which is usually out of your control. For an example, national natural disasters, petrol increase, or even generational trends. What do they mean by generational trends? Well, in these current times, businesses such as KFC, at the time, it was during the war where women were starting to work into making weapons, and while the men are at war, so there was really nobody at home to cook dinner, and the fastest thing that you could do is just order KFC. Even though it wasn't a traditional meal, it was still something to eat that was tasty and good and met the need of the household and boarders. Unfortunately, at that time, they were not very health conscious. And so today's time, we have too much options, and we have different people who are lactose intolerant, who are vegan, who are into more health conscious keto meals. And so businesses such as Kwai come in and serve all of those different generational trains of people with different needs. And so that's how KFC and Kwai, they have different customers bases. Okay,